Well, first of all, Nicky, I don't know if you were aware of this, but you had played in, uh, uh, literally, yeah, played, not even just been in the squad, but played in every single match up until this past one. I don't know if you had something going on, but what was it like for you for the first time this season, witnessing the team from the outside?
Yeah, it was a different experience, right? You can see the field from the outside in. Thought we played really well, first half, and then second half you can kind of like dissect what we can do better. And not to say we didn't play well, but we didn't play to our true identity. We didn't stick to our game plan, and that's kind of what the last 20 minutes of the game I would say is just kind of went, didn't go our way. But other than that, I think, looking at it inwards, I mean, it's easier to pick, what we can get better at and what we're good at, you know. Yeah.
And this weekend, you guys facing Las Vegas, a team that has struggled as of recently, but also hasn't had an acting head coach for about a month and a half. Ironically, since right after the last time you guys played them here. So, what are you expecting from them, particularly as they have this new head coach and hopefully more drive going forward?
Yeah, more, I'd say, ambition to get the win because obviously I got a new coach to ignite new fire in them. Right? They just came back from they just lost 6-0 to El Paso. I think they're going to come with everything. They don't have nothing to lose for this next game, and we got to expect, their best. And they're a really good team, so we've seen that in the past that they play well together, and we got to respect that. Not come in, kind of taking that for granted, that they not might play well, but they have a new coach coming from the Charleston system, assistant coach. So it's a really good style of play they have there. So, and they have the how do you call it, the players to play that. So.
And I know you guys like to focus on yourselves. You can only control yourselves. You can't control what the opponent's going to give you. So what are some things that maybe, particularly in light of what happened last weekend, that you guys have been working a little harder on this week, focusing a little more on, if you can say?
So just keeping the ball more, like kind of being patient, right? Finding the right time when to attack, and just obviously just keeping the ball with more intent, not just for the sake of it. Because there's times where we just kind of kick it up or we panic. Just kind of be more calm and composed, really focused on the ball. So.
And this may be connected to holding onto the ball a little more, but for 2 matches in a row now, you guys have conceded 2 very late goals. Both in stoppage time against New Mexico, and then both after the 80th minute against Sacramento. Has sort of holding the line defensively and holding on to whatever result you've got and not conceding those late goals. Is that something y'all have talked more about this week?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right? We've created more chances and we need to score chances, but also I do think we need just more passion for that win, more kind of seeing out the game better, more willing to defend and more willing to put our body on the lines, for the win. And that just comes with, I think, focus the last 15 minutes of the game, knowing that we can win this and not just kind of going through the motions. And I feel like, some plays we take off and it's a lack of focus, really, I think so. And that has to start within, ourselves to be better at that and recognizing those moments. So.
But thoughts on practice, cohesiveness, there's a lot of, not a lot of personnel changes, but you lose guys like Hernandez, you guys are coming back, but they have limited minutes. So there's a lot of rotation right now, some uncertainty. Were things looking pretty cohesive in practice? How do you feel about this game going into it, knowing that there's still going to be some moving parts?
Yeah, I think Coach Amosa is pretty good at that. He interchanges a lot of guys, and I think a lot of guys have had their chance to start, so I don't think it would be too much of a problem as the next guy up, right? And it's just like everyone has the experience, especially with the Jägermeister Cup and those games that everyone has stepped up into a role where they should start or impact the game. I don't think we'll have too much trouble with it. Yeah. So yeah.
What is one thing you're proud about your performance?
About our performance?
Yours in particular.
In mine particularly? Just so overall in the season, or kind of
From the season, like
over-
gameplay?
honestly, like just kind of being more composed on the ball, really. As you can, I'm a bit of like an energetic guy, you know, kind of keeping that within myself, but also being contagious in the same way with that energy. And just kind of getting other people like better, not just myself, not just doing my role, you know, making other people their role easier. Does that make sense? I know that, you know, if I'm playing the 6 or 8, I got to do a little bit more work for maybe like a guy, like, not that he doesn't work, but George, so that when he does have the ball, his legs are, you know, fresh, so he can create, right? Or score, like he's been doing this year. Just knowing those type of things, and that comes with experience, right? And knowing those relationships with the other players. That's just one example. But it goes, you know, 18 others, right? The 18 or 25, our whole roster, right? Knowing your personnel. So.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're pretty much everywhere on the field. Like, you know, you got your hand on the ball pretty much, you know, everywhere, and you're creating essentially goals. Like, you know, what's the mindset of putting yourself in those positions to help out your team?
Honestly, just kind of moving off each other, feeding off each other's energy, right? Like, I can get into this spot because I know someone else is over here. We're not too stagnant, right? We're just kind of like a moving machine. We're kind of just flowing, with, you know, and it allows me to move more freely as an 8-6, right? Rather than just staying in the midfield. Yeah, like I said, those relationships you build, or we built over the course of the season, have been getting better, and I do think it's starting to show a little bit more. And like I said, I just think we need to finish our chances to, you know, have those 2-0 games, 3-0 games, 4-1 games, you know? And I think that will come here sooner than later, so.
Yeah, it seems like also in practice you're a big part of like communication with your team.
Yeah.
Like, how is that, you know, practice leading into the games like good for that transition?
Yeah, I think just kind of passing the next guy up, right? It makes playing defense a little bit easier, a little bit better, knowing that, you know, like, hey, like someone's about to cross the ball, I got Reese's back, I got Harvey's back, you know? Hey, go to your right. You can bite more on your right, so if he cuts in, I'm right there to help him out. So now he can, you know, just those little details that, you know, not a lot of people see, not unless you're like on the sideline. But yeah, I think the communication skills makes, like I said, other people's jobs easier and save those legs, right? Those tired legs, really. So.
The team has a pretty good away form this year, but you guys have been at home for the last month. So how are you guys going to kind of go back into the swing of things and get back to being on the road?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because obviously it's kind of 2 games, one game, right? And we've been, 3-4 home games now. This August, the month of August is going to be a challenge for us, right? I think it's probably going to be one of the toughest months of the year. So it's going to be a test, and obviously, like you said, rotation is going to be a big factor in that. Yeah, it's just like who's in form and who wants it more right now, you know, because it's come to playoffs, we have to be in better form or the best of form. But I think, you know, away games, we just treat it like another game, right? Don't really look much into it, but play with a little bit more chispa, more fire, right? So knowing that August is probably the heaviest loads of months. So.